Meeting for February 6th, 2025.
Please make sure your mics are on and pulled up to you, or the recording will not do very well.
As a note today, we are
Thank
we are doing live stream
Correct.
for our meeting as well. So we have to do it by July anyway, so we decided just to start it today. Good. Zach, would you mind doing a roll call of the members, please?
Not at all. John Good.
Here?
Chris Pranger.
Here.
Pete Reinl.
Here.
Doug Castater.
Here.
Leon Steury.
Here.
And Justin Reinig is absent.
Thank you. Okay. Approval of our minutes from the November 13th meeting. Anybody have any changes they would like to see made?
Hold that thought.
Yeah, we should do that. We should do the election first and then the minutes. Just because we need a chair to
To do that?
actually, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. So today we have to go to election of our officers. So we have up president, vice president, and secretary. I'm happy to remain as your president. I am also happy if one of you would like to do it as well. So if anybody has the desire to do that, let me know.
Let's open up the floor for nominations for president. And then anyone who wants to nominate themselves or others, then we'll have a motion to close nominations, then you'll vote. And we'll do that for president, vice president, and secretary.
Okay, I'm gonna let you run this,
Okay.
okay?
Does that need to be done in the form of a motion, or we can just nominate?
Let's, someone make a motion to open the floor for nominations for president. We'll get a second, and we'll do the whole formal process.
I make the motion to open the floor for nominations for the officers.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate John to continue as president.
I'll second that. Any other nominations? Entertain a motion to close nominations for president.
I move to close nominations for president.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All in favor of John Good as president, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, then entertain a motion to open the floor for nominations for vice president.
Make a motion to open the floor for vice president.
Second.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, nominations for vice president.
I'd like to nominate Pete Reinl for vice president.
I second that.
Any other nominations? Motion to close nominations.
Motion to close?
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor of Pete Reinl as vice president, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And a motion to open the nominations for secretary.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, nominations for secretary.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Chris for the secretary.
I'll second.
Any other nominations? Motion to close nominations.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, all in favor of Chris Pranger as secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, everyone.
Woo-hoo. Thank you. Okay, now back to the agenda, back to the approval of minutes from the November 13th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
First and second, is everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. And then the only thing I do note is you had Shelley on here as a signatory.
I have the
You got the
clean
other one?
copy
Okay,
to
perfect.
change it.
So we'll need to sign that. Okay, so up for now is we're looking at the RDC attorney agreement with Zach, keeping him as our attorney for 2025. I think this is all the same as it was last year, wasn't it? No changes to it?
Other than the date.
Okay. Any questions with it? I'll entertain a motion.
This would be a motion to approve John signing on behalf of the redevelopment commission for the agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Done. Done. Okay, so now moving into the RDC rules of procedure. So I've provided, Doug, this is probably the first time you've seen it, obviously. So we had already approved the rules procedure up through basically the red section on page 2. And so this is a discussion that Zach and I had regarding the, basically, people that present here at the meeting. And so we're asking for information to be provided to us beforehand so that we have a chance to look it over, so we can act more intelligently during the meetings, and we can get through our meetings just a little bit more efficiently. So this is something we kind of put together. If you have any changes you'd like, or suggestions or thoughts on it, I'm happy to entertain anything. So basically, what this is saying is we have to have information, if somebody's going to present to us, we have to have the information to either the chair or the RDC attorney 72 hours prior to the meeting. And then the documents that we have, if we determine that they're germane to what we're discussing, topic under, then we will then provide those to the RDC at least 24 hours in advance. And ideally, it's going to be more than that, but 24 is what we have in here. So in the case that we have an emergency that pops up that we need to deal with the day of, the day before, something like that, we do have provision in here that somebody can still provide them. The chair and the RDC attorney will go through them to make sure that they are germane to the topic at hand, and determine that, yes, this is something we need to suggest to the committee. Then what we would do is as we open the meeting, we would request make a motion for modification to the agenda. We're just going to say is that we've reviewed this, this is something that should go into here, we're requesting modification, then the committee would all vote on that to yes, we agree, or no, we don't agree. If they do agree, then that information will then be provided to the committee.
Okay, the request on the last page, that kind of disagrees with what you're saying.
So the section B,
Yeah.
okay, so this is saying that the RDC won't vote on any requests for consideration that have not been identified on the agenda in advance of the meeting. All requests must be made in complying with section C6A. So what this is saying is that if something's provided, I get what you're saying, so if it's an emergency situation,
Right.
right, and
Yeah.
we've approved it,
So we've got a way to talk about it, but not a way to vote on it if it's not on the agenda, essentially, right? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
correct?
Okay, is that the way it's going to be then?
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I would say that if the committee has approved it, so if you determine that, yes, we do want to hear it,
Based on an approval to hear.
based on approval to hear.
Yeah, I don't care which way you go, it's just something that didn't sound right.
You might have some occasion where you would need to decide
Right.
to vote that night.
Right,
It's
exactly.
plausible, right? Yep.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, the president of our organization just came out with something very similar. It's been 24 hours for him forever, and this year he upped it to 48 hours. And I know with the 24-hour rule, he stuck to it, and it made things flow much better. And 48's a little harder for everybody to deal with, but it gives people time to absorb it instead of just having it delivered, make a decision right now. Now, to your point, there may be things that come up where you have to make that decision immediately, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and since we're only meeting like once every 2 months or once every 3 or 4 months, I think it's something we should probably consider
yeah,
as an exception.
yep, yep.
What we could do is do, may have to wordsmith this, but B2 says that the agenda may be modified only by a vote of the redevelopment commission, something along those lines, so that
Yeah.
we can add things if it's some kind of an emergency situation that, for whatever reason, was not able to get put on the agenda with the appropriate amount of time.
So is this something we can modify tonight, or is this as far as wording, or can this wait till our next meeting?
I think we can, I just want to get your guys' thoughts on it. And if it's something you're in favor of doing, then we'll clean it up and then we can present it at our next meeting for final approval. Yep. I was trying to avoid a situation where we've got somebody comes in and starts throwing out a whole bunch of information to us and literature on it at our meeting, and we have no idea what it is, and you're trying to then vote on it and listen to it at the same time.
It's written, the only thing
Yep,
In favor?
in favor of it too. Doug, you okay with that?
Yes. Yeah, no problem with it.
Okay. So for tonight then, we'll just leave it as, this is, yes, we want to do this, so Zach and I will work on getting the language proper for it, and then we'll represent it in the next meeting.
Okay, while we're on procedures, I've got a few questions. I've been on this board for I don't know how long, and I've never really asked what my position entails. Am I supposed to be getting, according to this, I should be getting all the emails that the other members get?
Yes.
Like I am a member of the board, I just can't vote. Is that the only restriction?
That is my understanding.
Yep, you can comment, you can
Yeah.
participate, you just don't get a vote. But otherwise, yes, you are here to be included on everything else.
Yeah, I know I haven't gotten all the emails in the past, but
Did you get these this time?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, these are getting better. Before
Yep.
last summer and that, we had trouble with not getting them. The other thing I had a question on was having something put in the minutes. If I ask for something to be put in the minutes, do I have that?
I believe anytime you're communicating, it goes in the minutes.
Okay.
How I see it is that you are a member of this committee 100% minus the voting piece of it.
Okay, in the past, it's not been that way. I asked on 2 different occasions to have something put in the minutes, and it never showed up. So, just want clarity on that.
Okay.
That it should be going through.
Okay.
Okay,
So if that was something that was asked and not on there, then when those minutes were approved, you probably should have brought that up. Because if somebody's asked for something to be on, I 99% of the time have them in there. So if I missed it, then either when they went out for review or at that next meeting, then, and even going forward, then say something so that we can amend those.
okay. All right, and I wasn't sure if I had that authority or not.
That's okay. I'm just asking that if I have forgotten something,
Yeah,
there's sometimes a million things happening, but for the most
Okay.
part, they're pretty accurate.
the last part is the audio from the meetings. Last spring, the May meeting and the meeting before and the meeting after, somebody tried to get those audios from those meetings, and they were told that they did not come through very good. So I was wondering how that happens with the commissioners holding their meetings in here every other week and not having any problems with that. Just wondered
There
if-
are problems. There have been problems with commissioners and council tremendously, and Kellen and Bill can both tell you that. Yes, the RDC meetings were not clear. You could not hear any of them, which is why I especially asked for you to be sure these are on and pulled up to you. The entire system has been completely changed out by the vendor, which that had been 2+ year process that had been tried. As far as the technology part of it, I have no hands-on, I have no way to know whether it's going to record or not. So it was not any type of intentional anything. If anybody wants to think that it was, it wasn't. And I can only provide as much as my system does for me.
Okay,
There was nothing intentional in not recording anything.
Yeah.
It was literally the system, and the entire system has been redone.
Yeah, you allowed me to talk.
Yeah, the chair recognizes
You
Kellen.
want-
Yeah, we looked into that. It was having some issues. It's on.
Okay. Just check. Well, it didn't flip. It's
Okay.
just checking.
We're checking that. We're also looking into some newer mics to help pick up better sounds and stuff like that. So there has been addressed on that because as we record more and more of these meetings, there's going to be more of these issues going forward. So
okay,
thank you.
Thanks, Kellen.
okay. My comments tonight are not to go backwards. That's not my intention. I want to know what to do going forward. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I think, thanks for asking.
So, okay, that's all I had on that.
Okay, moving on. Operating, RDC 2025 operating budget overview. Okay, so we have given you several documents on this. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of go over it briefly for Doug's sake, since this is kind of his first time kind of seeing some of this stuff. So Doug, this sheet here is the operating budget. We just started creating this last year so we could keep track of basically what our cash balances is, what we expect to be getting in, and what we've kind of allocated out for expenses, just so we kind of know where what our funding is for each of the 3 TIFs. So we're dealing with the SDI TIF, the American Heritage Village TIF, and the New Millennium TIF. And so Susan's keeping this updated for each of our meetings to be as accurate as we can. Okay. And then we have this document, which is DeKalb County TIF spending plan. This is what we approved in November for the amount that we've showed to the state. This is a state-required document. Doesn't really mean anything other than that's what they've seen. So we've allocated out 1.602 million in possible expenditures, whether we spend those or not. That's what this document is showing. It allows us to spend up to that amount. If we go over that amount, then we have to amend the documents with the state. So that's why we created it how we did. And then we've got 3 documents that show the New Millennium, this says SDI in there somewhere, SDI and the American Heritage Village. And this shows the what we are anticipating the net assessed values to be, and then what we're estimating the estimated tax increments that will be coming in to us in 2025. So on, like, for example, the New Millennium, that shows $191,300. The SDI TIF is showing $320,580. And then American Heritage is showing $179,080. Okay, so those are the documents, and I know that's a lot at you at the same time, but that's kind of where we're at. So Susan, as of right now, for the 2025 operating budget, you're showing a cash balance for SDI of $1,060,000, American Heritage at $932,000, and New Millennium at $777,000.
As long as we get the green numbers.
As
yeah.
long as the
Estimated numbers, yes.
As long as the estimated number's coming in, okay. I did have one question on the SDI for 320. I thought that we had agreed at 500,000.
Well,
How does that change?
That was the difference. You had agreed at 500,000, and then I'm not sure what all took place, but there was communication between Baker Tilly, the school board, and you, maybe Zach, I don't know. But when everything was said and done, it came in at the 320.
That's where it came in at.
That's all I know of,
Okay. Where did you get that number from?
Baker Tilly.
Baker Tilly get that number too? Okay. So did we take a percentage instead of like the total amount, Zach, do you know?
I remember. I was trying to remember if the 500 was between New Millennium and SDI.
I think it was just SDI, because I don't think we didn't discuss the New Millennium.
It was just SDI. I know that part of it, but when it was all said and done, it only came down to the 320.
If I can.
I believe that motion, if I remember, was a percentage, is kind of how
Was that what it
we
was?
worked back to, I think, because we didn't know how to get to it. That would have been
The other problem with that is it is confusing because you want to talk in dollars, but dollars don't come out until the assessed value is part of it to equal the dollars. So we really don't pass through dollars. We pass through assessed value to lower their tax rate so that those bills are lower. So you can't just say, we're going to pass through $5 million, because you're not passing dollars, you're passing assessed value through
Right.
so that they can get
And then when
dollars.
the tax rate gets set, then that is what adjusts it out.
That's the big convoluted mess of it, because everybody knows what they want for their budgets, but it's not dollars until the end point.
Found an email, oh, sorry, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead, Zach.
I found an email from Greg Balsano after, did we meet on September 11th? Is that when our,
I believe so.
so this is from September 12th, and there's more in here, but basically it says the total estimated TIF collection from SDI and New Millennium will be around 500,000 with the change from SDI that was agreed on at the September 11th meeting. I can't remember the exact, trying to find minutes.
Oh, I have them right here.
So based on that email, was part of that money, did part of the money come out of the new mill TIF then?
So right now, as it stands with all the final motions, then the New Millennium dollars that will come is 191,300 estimated. Plus the SDI of the 320 is about 511,000, 511,880 estimated together. But initially, it was 500 for SDI, not together. But at the end of it, it
It's
ended up with them together.
from the minutes. Chris made a motion to approve retaining $500,000 combined on the SDI TIF and New Millennium TIF. And that was, we never changed, we were keeping all of New Millennium. So that part didn't change. It was just the amount that we ended up retaining from SDI made up the balance of that 500.
So that complies with what our motion was.
Yeah.
I was just making sure the numbers are correct. Okay, great. Any other questions about the operating budget?
I have lots, but we can wait.
Okay. And so my understanding is then that this year now, SDI is now done. So we won't be dealing with that one again. We're just dealing with the American Heritage and the New Millennium.
There's still a little SDI.
There's a
There's
little
still
less.
a small, there were two SDIs. The big SDI that was the whole issue is done.
Okay.
But there's still a little tiny one.
You know how much the assessed value in that one is?
Not off the top of my head.
That one was created at a later date.
It's, I mean, like, saying it's only a
Just everything that's outside the fence.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, new process steel and those ones right along the road. Not inside the SDI complex.
Do you know what the,
No, too long ago.
I'm looking.
I'm just trying to get an estimation of what
Yeah,
we might be looking at coming in the year.
no, that's been too long ago.
Okay.
See, if I knew that, I wouldn't be sitting here.
That's fair enough. Okay. Any other questions on the budgets at all? Susan will look that up and get back to us.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Okay, on the pass-through on New Millennium, would you be retaining all of that or passing half of it through? I thought we was passing half of it through.
We
Thought New Millennium we kept.
kept New Millennium.
All of it?
Yeah.
Half of it?
Back to my. My recollection is it was all of it.
I thought we kept all of that one, then we adjusted the SDI.
Yes. Retained all of it. So American Heritage and New Millennium retained 100% of it. And only changed the SDI portion.
Okay.
And so by keeping 100%, it generated 191,000.
Yeah.
So just as far as we want to look at numbers, what we're looking at, because it's assessed value of 14.9 million. Okay. So Doug, if you want to have a conversation about any of that at any point in time, please reach out.
Okay.
Not a quick one, but it'll be a good one. So, okay. Moving on to the calendar of meetings. We have a tentative calendar laid out for the remainder of the year, and then, you guys have any issues with any of these dates? Like every 2 months.
And part of these, the way these are set is to help us meet the deadlines that we have. There's a April 15th report that Susan has to do, so we have our meeting in March to make sure we have everything we need there. The May meeting is so that we can make the pass-through determination that is due by June 15th. And then
Yeah, carries forward.
carries over through the, so that by November, we can have a meeting so that we can have the annual spending plan prepared by December 1st, like we are required to do.
I guess I would just add for the commission's information, due to my work schedule, I work 24 hours and then I am off for 48. So during those 24 hours, I will be unavailable. So if you would, all these dates as given here, I am off for. So I have no issue with any of those, but if we would have to have a special meeting, then that would, I mean, I can look at my calendar and tell you for 3 years what days I'm working, because it's a set every third day. But all these dates are days that I'm currently off.
I
If
don't
we-
anticipate any special meetings.
No, and if we had to have a special meeting, we could figure out what your
We'll clear it with you.
schedule is so that we can
So,
make that
but yeah,
work.
as of this time, I don't have an issue with any of these.
Okay. Do we need a motion to approve these, or just, you just good with it?
We approved them in,
We didn't approve them. We only approved
The first one?
okay,
January that got canceled so that we could talk about this. I would prefer if you did
yeah.
a,
I thought I was
Motion.
thinking we had, but you're right, we only did to get us into 2025.
yeah.
So yeah, a motion to approve would be,
Entertain a motion.
Move to approve the calendar.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, calendar is set. Okay. Approval of claims and invoices. Yes, I do. We have, so the only one we have is Zach's for $816.
Your next ones are,
Those I'm going to have you present, the bonds.
okay, but those are the invoices on top of it.
Oh. Fair enough. Okay, so we have an invoice from Zach Leitner for $816. We have the HILB group.
The
HILB,
Insurance Trustees, it's HILB Group
okay,
now.
for $300 and for $200. Basically, it's $100 for each of our bonds. Any questions with any of those? Entertain a motion?
Move to approve the 3 invoices.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Invoices are carried. Okay. Now, Susan, for the bonds, is there anything you need to say about the bonds?
No, Zach has taken care of them.
Has everybody signed?
Everybody signed,
Just
we'll
have to
just
have
need to get
Justin.
Justin's.
Yeah, and I'll get in touch with him.
Once I get that, then I file them with the clerk's office and good.
Okay. Great. Fantastic. Butler Fire Department. There's someone to speak on behalf.
Thank you for having me here. Basically, in a nutshell, I'm kind of here to information in. Back in the September. So I
And will you
guess,
say your name and your title, just for the,
yep, Chief Ron Mostiller, Butler Fire Department.
perfect, thank you.
Okay. Like I said, I'm here pretty much to answer any questions that you might have. Anything that's on the paperwork that you have in front of you, I think everybody have one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So anything that you have from the proposal that I did a few months back and stuff right before the first of the year to the information that you have there, that is the accumulated, information that I have based on the manufacturers that have submitted back to us the quotes that we had talked about that you needed, and pretty much the reasoning and stuff behind why I'm asking for your assistance.
Perfect.
So I guess at this point, is anything that you guys, as a whole, as a body, need to know?
Okay, so just so I understand, you're looking for 2 different vehicles.
Correct.
One's a tanker,
Yep.
the other one's a grass buggy,
Brush truck.
brush truck.
Okay.
Okay. The tanker, how much is that one?
There are 3 quotes that come into. Now, the one basically has all of the things that we have actually spec'd for, the things that we need to upgrade to, and that's the one that has the Spencer. They are the ones that actually submitted all the things on it. The Spartan one does not have some of the things that we need, the front section and some other appliances that are put into that spec. And theirs is actually running higher as it is without those. And then the other one was a cookie cutter one that came from, and I may be wrong on this, and it's either Hoosier or Midwest. And theirs was just a base model, already built, and that run around 460. That's not in there, but I think, John, you do have that one.
That would be the Midwest.
Is that the Midwest one? Okay.
It's in our packet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so Spencer's 564, the Hoosier is 655, is
Correct.
that correct? And then.
And I think that, what was the Midwest, 460, 475?
455.
455, okay.
So there's a 365 and then
And there's also some price breaks on the Spencer truck with some options if you prepay, correct?
Correct, yep. And also, They are affiliated, and I'm not sure exactly how in-depth they are with the company that actually does work on the brush truck. And so that can become a package deal also, but we were never given the break on what that would be for both of those. Because the brush truck itself is one that is actually pre-manufactured now, and it's more of a demo model, and it has all of the stuff that's on there, and there's a few things that they're talking about that can be removed on that and stuff from what we do not want as our spec. We don't need that. But like I said, that one is already pre-made. That one is based on combination of the things that we're looking at. And if you notice on that front page, that cover letter I put in, what we have is these two rigs will actually be the equivalent of 4 for us, based on the downsizing for, well, manpower.
Right.
Yep.
That's the big thing, the manpower and stuff. We don't have enough to carry, the same fleet that we've had in the past. So what we've done is have generated both the rigs that we're talking about right now into, eliminating 2 to take the place of the 2 that it's going to take the place of. So 4 rigs are actually in question here, 2 being totally removed, which would be the rescue rig and the other med truck.
But just so I'm clear, we've got the tanker, you have 2 quotes, one at 564, the other one at 655.
Yes,
And then this 455, and what is this one?
That's another tanker.
those are all 3 tankers.
You have 3 quotes
Three
on a
quotes.
tanker.
Oh, okay.
3 quotes of a tanker and an email on the Fouts, which is the
Yes,
brush truck.
the Faust truck is that one.
Yep, okay,
And that's all we got from those people.
Okay.
And there's not a lot of, there is, but there's not a lot of grass rig / brush truck manufacturers that are centered around that particular thing, what we're trying to spec there.
Yeah. Okay, that helps to understand.
I missed that piece of it.
So the four trucks that you're going to be replacing, would you be replacing the tanker, the grass rig, this rescue truck, and the medical response apparatus?
Yeah,
So
2 of them will actually be eliminated by combining the 2 that we're actually going after. The tanker is going to replace a tanker we already have previously that doesn't meet what we need as our requirements, and the brush truck will take the place of a grass rig. Now, the difference between those 2 is that the brush truck is going to be more of a utility. It takes it's got a bigger tank on it. It has the ability and stuff to perform more utility type operations. And the grass rig that's it.
More storage for tools and things.
Yep.
Yep,
And
okay.
actually, one of the things that we're looking into to do with the rescue truck, we're going to take our rope rescue stuff and all of our water rescue and put that onto this rig, especially on the seasonal side of it. So come wintertime, when we're not looking at, well, unfortunately, we still do grass fires in the wintertime, but we're going to be doing more in the lines of rope and water and ice rescue. That equipment will be put on, and that will be able to be taken to the scene. Plus, this will have the capability of pulling our hazmat trailer and any other trailers that we may need. So we can actually go to any other place and let's say, for instance, we go to a standby somewhere, or we go to another fire company's fire, we can actually pull their trailers and things, which we can with the grass rig that we have now, but it's only a smaller version. It doesn't have the capability of pulling larger.
is there any cash value to these 4 vehicles that you would be getting rid of?
Yes and no. If we go over like a gov deals, or we go into like selling them across the country to somebody that might need them, the numbers have been terrible as far as like resale on that. We just actually got rid of an older model engine when we replaced our engine and stuff after 20 years. A company out of Missouri bought it, and we put it on gov deals first, and the best we could get out of it was a $12,000. And we wanted $35,000 on it because we thought we'd be nice and drop it down to that. We didn't even get that. And it just so happened that we took it off of gov deals because we didn't get what we wanted, and it sat for another 6 months. And this company out of Missouri and stuff said, hey, we found out that you had, had this on there. Do you still have it available? And they were willing to give us some. And not a lot more, but we did get some out of it. The rescue itself, and believe it or not, I've actually had people inquire about it since we said something about this. So they are from around here, may be willing to take that, and I think the tanker could also be sold to a company that does really just shuttling operations. And that's what our tanker does now. It does have a pump on it, but it's a very small pump, and it only offloads water more than it can fight fire. The one that we're asking for is one that can actually double as an engine. And that's one of the things that we're looking at, because the manpower status, we're actually splitting crews, and I know we're doing that in Angola, we do it in Auburn and stuff, we're splitting crews to get the tankers, and what we're trying to do is actually get the equipment on the scene with lesser manpower, and then we go to work, and as our manpower and our mutual aid companies show up, they can use the stuff. So that's where we're at right now.
Are there any other departments in the area that would be interested in these?
Yes, and that's what I said. We've had some inquiry on both of those those trucks that we want to get rid of overall, the rescue and the tanker.
So like in DeKalb County?
One of them is in DeKalb County, and the other one is in Steuben County.
Okay.
And then there is one for the rescue. There was one in it's either Hillsdale or one of the Michigan departments up there, and I can't tell you exactly which one. Somebody just asked me and stuff when I was on duty in Angola one day.
What do you estimate the value or the money you can get from those?
As of right now, if I were to say on gov deals, very little. I'm looking at under 10,000 to 15,000, somewhere in there. Because rescue trucks, because of manpower status, is a walk-in, and it carries 6 in the back. People don't have 6 people. So it would be one converted to, say, a special ops truck or a command truck. It has the ability to do both of those things. We don't have the capability to use it for that purpose, but some of the larger departments or somebody that has like a hazmat team, they would easily be able to use this truck for that, or for a special ops in consideration of water rescue or, say, hazmat, something of that nature. And there's a few of them that are looking into it. I know Concord had said something about it, but I don't know as if they're going to be able to foot that bill either. But I would say, estimating on the age, and I'm thinking if we could get 25 to 30 out of it, straight off the line like it is and stuff, it doesn't have a lot of miles, it doesn't have a lot of wear and tear, and it's in good condition. That's about the best I could ask for.
So of the 4 that you're replacing, what do you think the total is?
Total value?
Of all 4 combined?
If I was to say, through the people that have inquired about it, I would say right around 40,000.
Okay.
And that's for both of those. Now, the grass rig itself has no value. The one that we're replacing, that grass rig is a 96, 97. It doesn't have any value anymore. It's a Chevy pickup. It's a 3/4 ton. It's half ton, 3/4 ton, something like that. It's had its day. It's had its day.
Jack might be interested in it.
If he wants to, firm it up, yep, I'm more than willing.
We'll talk.
Okay. So and I don't know this answer, if you sell or give or whatever to another department in the county, how does the money work on that? Do you know?
As far as,
I mean, does one department buy it from the other department?
yes.
Or does it just transfer within the county, or how does that work?
Yeah, because see, we're a territory, so the city of Butler and the Wilmington Township, they come together and stuff, and they would have to, I think, actually, the mayor could answer that question a lot more than I could, because I don't do really the finances all that
Would
well.
need to.
But
Because it depends where originally would have been purchased from. It was some special fund. Then whoever is buying it would need to pay for it out of their funds, so
Okay.
that would go back into the original fund that it was actually paid for.
Okay.
And I think the rescue truck was purchased by both the territories and the city at the time, and that would have been back in, I think, 97. You remember that? Roughly about 97 and stuff. That's when we actually had the 4 territories that we contracted with.
Okay.
But since then, it's become a territory, so I'm not exactly sure how that would go. We still have 3 territories in play, but the Wilmington one is the one that combined with the city.
Okay. So last question I've got, and then you guys, whatever you got, but, we got 3 quotes on the tanker. I'm guessing the lowest quote at 455 is what you're looking at?
The 455 one was one that was the best that they could send to us without some of the specs that we're requiring. And the main thing that we're trying to do is, especially the front section and some of the compartment space for, you know, the actual appliances that we need. But the 1250 GPM pump and the front suction are the two main things that we're really in desperation of needing. So they couldn't,
That
they
truck
couldn't,
doesn't have that.
they couldn't put that one on and put it in their specs. They were looking at actually another 60 to 80,000 just for the front suction. But I can't say for sure what it would cost long ways because they didn't include it.
They take it, the Spencer quote's kind of the one you're leaning towards.
The Spencer one was the one that came through. They were just stellar at getting that to us, and that one there came in a full book. It's actually 82 pages long, and that's not the one I gave you. I gave you the condensed version. I didn't think you wanted to look at all the other stuff, so I gave you the condensed version, John. And then the other one is the Spartan one. That one is even higher price, but it still does not show the front section. So you're still looking at another 50 to 80,000.
But the Spencer one has the front.
Yes.
Okay.
So of the three, if you had your choice, first choice would be,
The Spencer. And I am familiar with them because of the ones that we have around us, because Angola actually has almost the same identical rig.
Okay. And then the brush truck is 355.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's really just not a lot of, it'd be hard to find 3 quotes on that thing.
It
right?
was,
Yeah.
yeah. We actually got them out, and I think there is 2 in there, but one was just off of an email. That's how, you know, and I do had some pictures from I think when you saw them, John, and stuff, you know, some of the members that, when I did the actual presentation, we had the pictures of the one that was already pre-built and the one that we're looking at, because it's going to be the cheaper of all to go with the one that's already a demo.
Glad you went that route. So the brush truck is demo stock, write them a check, they drop it off.
In a lot of ways, yeah. Yeah.
The Spencer is 2.5 years.
Yes. Yeah. That puts our tanker at 25 years old. And
2 years.
and like I said, so we have, for drafting purposes, it is not up to snuff on that. Because for drafting with that truck, which we are, because of manpower, we're getting away from. We're not doing a whole lot and stuff at separate locations. And that one's only good for shuttling operations, which means basically it goes to a water source, they fill it, come out, we dump it, and we go back to the water source. This truck that we're looking at can actually double as an engine and actually can draft from portable tanks and stuff and lay in. So one person can run that while somebody else is running the engine. So we're trying to get it to a point where we're, you know, not having to rely on more engines. We just need more manpower.
Okay. And you said it's a 2-year lead?
It's actually a 2.5-year build for that Spencer.
Okay. So,
That 14 months is a little deceiving.
yeah.
So this says the chassis arrivals 14 months and then the balance is due on delivery. So there's another year and a half on top of that after that chassis gets there to put that truck together.
Yep. Yeah, and that was actually being nice, from what I'm hearing and stuff, and even Doug can probably, you know, comment a little bit about this. Engines are looking even worse than that now. They're out there a long way.
Garrett just approved a purchase order from Pierce. All theirs are 4-year build times,
4 years.
4 years.
So you can see kind of the dilemma that we're facing now, because it used to be we could get one in under 12 months. And anymore and stuff, if you got a time when your truck is starting to wear out and starting to nickel and dime you, you're looking at, oh, wow, I better start now. And sometimes speccing a truck out, if you want one that's going to match up to what you're looking for the future, you start in, and it could be 6 months and to 8 months and stuff just doing the speccing part of it. That's before you say, hey, this is what we want.
Okay. So then, following up what Chris was saying, so it says payment of chassis arrival in 14 months of 140. So we would be issuing $140,000 in 14 months.
Roughly, yes.
So that we're looking at the 2026 budget for that one. And then we'd be following up with the completion, so it'd be in the 2027 or even 2028. Correct?
I think, yes.
Okay.
And that's for the Spencer?
That's for the Spencer, yeah.
That, yes, if you go with that option, or the next two, like the 50% prepay thing, you would pay the 282, 461 within 30 days of signing, and then you would have a little bit of a discount.
Yeah, 11,000.
Plus, I think that one there is good until actually delivery, wasn't it? When that one, if you go with the half price part of it, they would take that out to delivery then, I think,
Well, I think they both are. It says that
on delivery.
so in the first one, it
Okay.
says remaining balance to be paid at the time of final delivery of 424.
Okay.
And then this is contract total, 50% prepay, performance. Now, this does not have a performance bond. So would we need to get a performance bond?
That I don't know.
Up to their policy is.
The fire department's not us. We don't have to require that.
No, that's up to Spencer if they require a performance bond.
And then they would work
On
through
our
us
part.
then. That would
Yeah.
be, yeah. All that stuff gets done through us, and then basically in a nutshell, stuff we,
Okay.
yeah, because we're the ones that have to sit down with them and go through all of that.
Okay. So assuming, just looking at these numbers, if we say we get to keep 424,000, we gain interest on our money that we have, that we hold. Is that true, the county? The county doesn't make any money on the,
Not on the RDC monies.
doesn't matter then. Say, because we held that for 2 years, and that's going to be another $40,000 we'd have, so it actually makes sense to do that one versus using interest on it, but we don't. Okay.
Yeah, if not, it may make sense to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so for your request, you're requesting the Spencer for 564,000-ish, and the brush truck at 355,000 for a total request of $920,000.
Correct.
Okay. And the brush truck, how quickly will they have that ready?
That one can be done this year.
Okay, so that one we're issuing this year, the other one will be issuing next year or next couple of years, is when those funds will be coming out. Any other questions for him?
Yeah. I guess I'm struggling with the brush truck a little bit, just because I don't have any experience with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The 3 quotes is helpful for me on the tanker. That gives me kind of a range.
Yes.
And it sounds like Pete and Doug have experience that I don't have, so there's no way to get written quotes. I mean, $330,000 is a lot of money. Is this not comparing it to, I mean, in my world, we have typically look at 2 or 3 quotes and have some idea. Is there a way we can get?
Doug may be able to submit another idea based on his brush truck that he has. His is very similar to size, you know, and the manpower carrying ability. I'm not quite sure how many gallons that one has. Is that a 400 gallon?
At the very most.
Yeah.
So I guess the issue is, I can explain it through Garrett. Garrett just signed a purchase agreement with Pierce Manufacturing for an engine. So all these trucks, apparatus, whatever you'd like to call them, it's not like you're going to the Ford dealer and your biggest decisions are, do I want leather or do I want a red one? It's every single piece on there is an option. So seat coverings, floor coverings, whether you want roll-up doors, whether you want hinge doors, whether you want lighting in there, whether you, what kind of pump you want, what kind of fittings you want, what kind of, okay, I want a light bar siren, but do I want this manufacturer or this manufacturer? Do I want 8 lights in it? Do I want 10 lights in it? So if you take this Spencer quote and hand it to Spartan and say, this is what I want, they will not even look at it because they won't.
How do you compare?
You can't compare. If they do, like Ron said, this is an 80-page spec of telling you every single bolt they use. You have to go through there and try and figure out if they use the same thing. Some some just don't, like he was saying, the Spencer has the size of pump that can pump the volume of water that they want. Midwest doesn't even carry that, so they can't even meet the spec. And that's what a lot of these manufacturers are finding out, that if I'm a larger city, or even Garrett, so we spec apparatus through Pierce, and basically they develop proprietary options that no other manufacturer has. So no other manufacturer can even bid exactly on the truck you want. So each individual company makes these individually, and it's just a nightmare to try and get the same quotes you can get. As you can see, he's tried to get close, and that's about, but again, you're looking at, I mean, a difference of $200,000 in just a single truck. So, I mean, he could get another quote. You're looking at $200,000 difference on a $500,000 truck.
But
To get another truck, he's probably going to be within $50,000. And a question I had with Ron was, given these three quotes, and I don't know how much funding the RDC has to give, but I asked, if you were only given $400,000 and you had to buy the tanker, which one would, I don't know that I feel like the RDC should say, here's $400,000, you need to buy the Spartan, because this, I can tell just from the photo on the Midwest that this has one compartment that he's going to be able to put equipment on, and that's it on the whole truck. The Spencer has 3 compartments, a huge one on this side, 2 other ones, and 2 other compartments on there. So it has more of what he needs, and I don't know that, in my mind, I don't want to pigeonhole, you know,
Yeah.
give him the amount of money, whatever, and then he can pick what it is. And if you want to say $300,000 for the brush truck, and then you go meet what's best, again, it's not, you just can't go to a dealer and they got 6 brush trucks on the lot and you decide which one's best. Because really, and when we built our grass rig at Garrett, it's probably 6-7 years old, it is strictly to fight grass fires. We are using it now as a med unit. We've thrown there's a big enough compartment we can throw med gear in there and we can take it on a med run. But he's building it so it's a multi-function truck. It's not just for grass fires. He can take it out on med calls. He can take it out on rescues, where we've sort of limited ours with one rig. And so if we didn't take our grass rig out on medical runs, we have a $300,000 truck that's going out 6 times a year. So he's making it so much more versatile for his money, and you're just not going to get those quotes, unfortunately.
Yeah, same actually thought process and stuff Doug just told you. One of the things that we're looking at, it's got a front nozzle on the front of it and stuff that we actually are looking at as being a remote barn fire apparatus, supplying it with a lead engine that's fighting the fire, and put this on the backside because it can get there and the other truck can't. And it's a separate monitor and stuff. So there's all kinds of things that we're trying to figure out how to do with less manpower, because we're just not getting them. I mean, you know, manpower status is hurting everybody across the nation.
can I go ahead? Okay. Tankers, I fully get it. 3 quotes, some of those you can't even get to the spec you're after. The Spencer makes perfect sense to me. Wonderful job explaining that. The brush truck is where I still, if these folks have a demoed, spec'd out truck ready to go, why can't they give you a formal quote on that truck instead of a 1-line sentence in an email? That's what I think Chris was getting at.
Yes. Well, with the, and let's go back here just a little bit and stuff. The grass rig manufacturers that are just grass rig are very few and far between. We had one out here just close to us that they got theirs from, and that was First Attack and stuff with Jeff Cook. And Jeff built the one in Angola, he built the one here, I think, that Garrett's got, and he's built quite a few around here. He's modified those, and he was set for just grass rig fires. This company is really just getting into, and that's one of the things, they're the ones that actually make the poly tanks for all of the fire apparatus around here. Some of the manufacturers from around the area, up in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Ohio and Indiana, stuff that make the fire apparatus, this company out of Fort Wayne makes the poly tanks, okay? So they decided to make a poly tank for a grass rig. And then they used some of the poly stuff to build the cabinetry and some of the other stuff. So they got into this, and they started to take this to truck shows. And one of the things that it's a regular chassis, it's a 4-man cab. It has the capabilities it's the high lift, just like what the other attack truck companies and stuff have been doing. And so it's set and ready just like what any of the grass rig companies around did. The reason why it's just a demo is because they're just getting into it. And so they're just taking it to a different level. And like I said, there's some affiliation with Spencer. So there could be a break because of the dual purchase. And that was the other thing and stuff. And I don't know how much. They have not led on to that much. So I can't really tell you. But like I said, the stuff that's there and was on that paper, pretty much the stuff that we got or that you have there and stuff is what they have already put on the rig. And then we're going to just take that cabinetry and the stuff that's already there and make it so it's universal and utility for us. I wish there was some that we could go to as far as like grass rig manufacturers. And I know the ones that we have around here and stuff are, well, they're not here anymore. And some of the other ones, I think Pierce makes some, but I think some of the other manufacturers, they don't even touch grass rigs and brush trucks. They're out west.
Do you currently have any funds set aside for replacements?
We don't know. Our Acune fund right now is tied up with the purchasing right now of air packs that are about to expire. And that's going to be $250,000.
Airbags?
Mm-hmm. Because that's one of the things that's one of the reasons why I was requesting your help is because what's happening in the fire service is they're putting expiration dates on almost everything we have. Medical supplies, our turnout gear, tires, for crying out loud. Tires have a 7-year lifespan on a fire engine now. That's NFPA and OSHA stuff coming out. So what it is that this stuff, and unfortunately, is starting to hit all of the smaller departments all at one time. So our turnout gear has a 10-year lifespan on it. Our air packs and stuff have 15, and I think that the bottles, depending on what type of bottles that you have anywhere from 10 to 15. So we have to replace that, even if there's nothing wrong with them or if they haven't been used a lot. So that's kind of where we're at with those right now. That's where my Acune fund is right now tied up with. We're looking at, to outfit our whole entire department, we're looking at 25 air packs at $10,000 apiece.
Ron, how many other apparatus do you have?
Right now, we have the tanker that we want to replace. We have a lead engine, we have a Quint, and then we have a backup engine that is a 92. And then we have the rescue that we want to, sell out and get rid of. And then we have a med truck and 2 grass rigs.
So let me kind of go with that, the funds set aside. So if you would purchase these 2 new apparatus, you would have those 2 plus 2 engines and then your Quint ladder truck for a total of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at these, if you're giving a 20, 30-year lifespan, he's having to buy a new apparatus every 6 years, basically, from the time you start with one to get around to the other. Mm-hmm. So he's got 2 engines. We just purchased ours from Pierce at $1.2 million. We spec'd out a ladder truck, which is a little bit bigger than a Quint, and that was $2.4 million, with each of those being of 4-year lead time. So he's got 3 other apparatus, you're looking at another $5 to $6 million worth of cumulative funds that he's gonna have to also adjust for, along with the air packs, the gear, any other miscellaneous.
And the turnout gear, actually, believe it or not and stuff, I've got 3 sets that are spare, that are not out of spec.
Radios, do you use Motorola? You have the Motorola?
Yes.
So, Motorola has a 10-year, basically shelf life on the radios. Whether they're working or not, they won't service them after 10 years. So if they're good, you can use them, but if they break, they won't service them. We just got a quote for 30 new radios, and we're looking at $300,000 to replace 30 radios. So fire equipment is not cheap. I know his budget is similar to mine, and it's a struggle to replace some of this stuff on time. And it's frustrating because things like the radios that are still good, in essence, we can use as long as they're no longer serviceable. And then what happens if 5 of them break, and now all of a sudden I'm short 5, and I got to get those replaced?
Are there any other sources of funding?
Some people can get grants. The biggest problem that we have is we're too big. You know, we're a city, and a city always changes some of the status that a lot of grants, you know, are geared for. Most of the equipment that we have to purchase outright and through our CUME stuff. You know, that's where that city status and stuff, you know, has a tendency to sometimes hurt us, you know, and Doug faces the same thing here in DeKalb County. We have Auburn, Garrett, and Butler as cities.
You have, so you got the air packs, you got those taken care of, you got this need. This need, because it's a very long lead time, is a couple years out until we're spending the money. Are there other things that you also need that may be quicker lead time that would change your strategy per se? I kind of put on my I'm at work hat, and this is the kind of stuff that I have to figure out all the time too. You know, because we're not going to spend a good chunk of this change for, gosh, quite a while. And in that quite a while, you may come back to us and say you need something else. If that something else is in the need list, does it come right now and be spent in 2025? Because this is sitting out here, and we know it's sitting out there a couple of years.
Right now, as we stand as a department, I'm setting up a replacement for our turnout gear, so that will get taken care of through our budgeting, okay? So that part's gonna be fine. The air packs, those are still tied up. We still have to figure out, because we gotta go to the new generation, which is 5.5s. We can go to the lower, the older generations, but the big thing is that we wanna be in compliance with everybody around us. Auburn just took possession, Kenneville and Noble County just took possession of 5.5s. I'm not sure, I think as it stands, there's quite a few other departments that are looking into that. And like Doug had said, Motorola looks into their new generations after 10 years, so they don't want to do it. And pagers are the same way. But we have a good program set up to replace that stuff. So all of those equipment type things, our big capital investments are the ones that has come back to haunt us pretty rapidly here in a short amount of time. The Quint is, I think, I can't tell you exactly how old right off the bat. I took over in March of last year in Butler. But the Quint will need to be replaced at some point within 10 years, roughly. The engine has just been purchased, so that's got 3 years on it and stuff, so I'm looking at 17 years before that's the problem. I did tell you about the tanker. It's already 20 years old. It'll be 25 per se by the time we get it replaced. The rescue, that is a 97 and right in there and stuff, so it's there. And the old engine, which is our go-to, and we love it because it doesn't cost us anything, and it's a great durable unit. It's a Pierce, you know, and it's a 92. And we've kept it because of the fact is it hasn't hurt us any. And it hasn't caused us any major issues. And we've given it some retirement time, you know. So anything that happens with the engine right now, the lead engine, it would become our lead engine. And and I have the confidence that it would do it. So right now, as it stands, no, I don't have anything that I can see foreshadowing, major issues down the line for quite a few years. Everything is right now in place, and that's due to, the diligence of the crews before me, the chiefs before me, and even back probably 40 years.
Thank you. That's reassuring to me. Sounds like the life expectancy stuff that has a shelf life per se, radios, air packs, you've got a good plan. Some of these apparatus, you can pull and tug some, right? And I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the one engine that we just replaced, the reason why we sold that one and got it out, because it was starting to nickel and dime. And it was at its 20-year mark and stuff. And that's pretty common for anything that is your lead engines or your lead trucks. They'll start to nickel and dime you a little bit. That's why we kind of put that timeline of 20 years. Now, bigger departments, like say your Fort Waynes and your Auburns, your Angolas, stuff like that, you're looking at anywhere between, 10 and 15 years that they put on those life expectancies. A lot of miles.
Okay. How do you build your ACUM fund? Does that come through the county? Does it come through the state?
Actually, to tell you the truth, that's something I can't tell you. I don't know exactly how that works.
Susan?
Mike, I've never been privy to that.
There is
You have any
a,
ideas?
there is a tax rate for the fire territory, so at settlement time, when I settle with all the taxes that have been collected, then it would go to their,
The property taxes? Okay.
I know the capital investment and stuff has been in place for as long as I've been in the fire service. And I know it's always been there, but it's slow growing if you got like a lot of farmland, and I know it's bigger growing if you got a lot of industry. So,
Just to make sure are you talking the cumulative fire equipment
Yeah, for the
replacement?
replacement of items.
So I may be getting this wrong because I'm, like Ron, I'm new to the position. But I believe that's regulated at a max tax rate that what we can put in there yearly. And I believe ours is $85,000. And when you're talking replacing a $2 million piece of apparatus, $85,000 is not going to get it.
How do you replace it then?
I don't know.
Does.
Come talk, yeah, we,
that's one of the reasons why I'm standing before you
Yeah.
today.
No, I'm just trying to really understand.
yeah, we were able to talk with the city, and through the city helping us and the territory helping us, we put half down. So we basically owe $650,000 on our engine, and we're doing a 7-year lease payment, and those are going to be probably $70,000 to $80,000 a year just for that, for the 7 years. So I can't buy anything else out of my CUME fund for 7 years to pay for this.
It can be a handicap too, yeah.
Yeah, sounds like it.
and that is based on the property tax rate.
Is that something that the state mandates? Is that, like the State Board of Accounts, did they do that, or?
Well, it's based off the budgets that are needed that come through all the municipalities, and then everything gets calculated down, and then there's a certain rate that goes for fire, libraries, county, schools, all of that. So depending what that rate ends up being to help fund what was requested is how that all comes down and then gets distributed from my office.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Ron? Very enlightening. So, thank you.
Well, good. Anything else?
Good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Any comments from anybody else here? Commissioners, do you have anything to say about it? Any thoughts on it? Love to hear it.
The only thing more expensive than highway equipment is fire equipment. I mean, we ordered trucks for 26, we ordered them last year. Got the price locked in, you just can't get it. You just have to wait. So we were out 2 years on truck chassis and truck bodies. And the new truck bodies are not like the old bodies where you have a chassis and a dump bed. These things are quite sophisticated. And front plows, bottom plows, augers in the boxes for sand, and they run around $250,000 just for a road truck. Just prices are just nuts.
Yeah, do you have any, are the commissioners looking at replacing anything for any fire departments? Do you do that? No,
No, not at this point.
no, not the fire departments. Okay. Okay,
The only other thing that I will add, and we're not going to know until this session is over, but depending what goes through legislation, if the property taxes are cut, then those funds are
and come
going to
from,
be even lower.
or come from a different source.
They don't have a plan for a different source, though.
Huh?
Not a plan right now for a
Oh,
different
yeah,
source.
no, there never is. Okay, great. Mayor, do you have anything?
I do.
Sure.
I apologize that I'm not on the agenda. I didn't know. I was coming here to present this to you guys. I know we talked in was it September, November about the police department, some quotes and stuff. Should I bring you guys some stuff around?
So let us finish the fire
Okay.
department first.
Okay.
So I'll keep these as two separate things.
Okay, gotcha.
If you don't mind, so, because we'll get confused with too many numbers.
We'll end up selling Ron a squad car.
It'll be a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so what the request that I've just heard is about $925,000. And I just kind of ran some just preliminary numbers, and it looks like if we go with the top option, which is payment at chassis arrival in 14 months, I'm just making the assumption that's going to be, well, and you buy the brush truck in 2025, then you're looking at about $500,000 this year out of our budget that we've allocated out. Waiting for that to be delivered in 2 years, roughly, we'll just hypothetically say 2 years, and that pushes it out to 2027. So we would have no expenditures in 2026 for it.
Yeah, based on that timing, it'd be
Based on-
close. I mean, 675 days after pre-construction change order approval. So yeah, I'm not sure what
So-
that means exactly. It'd be
Yeah,
the
so,
end of 2026, beginning of 2027, right?
or 27, 28, depending on when it comes out.
Well, yeah.
So we'd have to just so we understand, as far as we're not taking a big hit right now, this would be spread out over probably 4 years, if we go with that route with both of those vehicles funding the full request.
So real quick, we wouldn't have any money in 2025 on that tanker, is that correct? The way I'm reading this?
That would be correct if it's in 14 months. So we'd have 355 this year, we'd have 140 next year.
Correct.
Yes.
If you do everything, do you have to have all that money earmarked in possession?
We just have to allocate it.
Yeah.
So for their standpoint, we're just going to say, we agree, and then we would allocate it out, and then we would be, right? We'd set a, when they would request it, then we would be issuing it back out.
We do a resolution authorizing whatever amount of money to the fire department, and then they would, it's kind of like what we did with the Auburn hazmat facility. We allocated $350,000, and we'll pay that as invoices come in. So it'd be the same with this, but we would allocate it by whatever magic Susan does, and the resolution would be the commission saying that we are going to pay this amount of money.
Okay, on the 205 extension from the American Heritage TIF District, I thought we had that money in hand, and it took like 2 years to do it to where we couldn't spend that money.
We
It
allocate,
took more than that. It started in 2017, and we just finished it this year.
we allocate that
Or
money,
24.
and we just say, so in our budget, it would just show us that this is allocated money that's, so we don't spend it again.
Yeah, so it would stay in that TIF district and then for that purpose.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. I just, this board's gonna change every 3 years or whatever.
Or yearly, yeah.
Just want assurances on what we put in today will be there 3 years from now.
What will happen is, once all that is decided, then I actually will make an account number. Like, I had an account number for County Road 56, and that monies will go into that account number, and then each year at budget time, then I will have to put in whatever is remaining of what the amount was that was decided. So it will follow it through.
And then, in the future, like you only need 350,000 or 355,000 this year. Next year, we can put more money into that? Or do we have to put it all in now?
We'd have to allocate it all. And so we're basically saying we don't have, this money is no longer available to us because we've allocated it out to this project.
We know we have a bill coming in 2027.
It still sits in the account,
Yeah,
but we wouldn't be spending it again,
right.
right?
I didn't know if we could use next year's taxes to pay part of it and the year after that to pay part of
Yeah,
it.
so that's what I was saying, is that when it's actually hitting us, it's gonna be this year, next year, and then in 2 or 3 years would
Yeah.
be the remainder of it. And during that amount of time, we'd also be retaining in money from the New Millennium TIF, if we decide to keep that money.
Yeah,
In 2023, when we were looking at these operating budgets, wasn't there a line in there for that County Road 56?
Yeah.
It showed up in there every year that money was allocated. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
And since it's done, then it's no
Gone,
longer.
but I remembered it. So
So it would show on
it
this.
shows, if it was
Yes.
on there today, it would show up in this budget that we've allocated X amount of money out of that to that project.
Be a line item just like office supplies.
That's correct, isn't it?
Okay.
So like if, just round numbers, like if it's decided 500,000, then I will actually do a transfer and put 500,000 in that line. And then say we spent 200 this year, then when we budget for next year, that same account number will then only show 300 because that's all that remains of the original 500,000 that was approved.
okay.
Kellen?
So back on to Susan, when you put it off to the side, would you be able to invest that money then? Because it's allocated out, you can't spend it anymore, but you're waiting for the bills to come in. Would you be able to take that 300,000 as you're waiting and put it into some bonds or CDs, earn some interest while you're waiting for the 19,000 years it takes to get this truck to come? You know what I mean? Like, because it's allocated out, you can't spend.
Thing, right?
I mean, you mentioned a little bit about it.
That's what I'm asking,
And
that's what I
with the
asked earlier.
treasurer does it with our money and makes pretty good investment back, would that be an option?
Maybe,
Maybe. That's, you'll tell me later and stop taking up your time now.
pretty much. No, that would be a discussion that I can have with the treasurer. Not everything is normally invested. We did a bunch of extra last year that is ending like 18 months, 24 months and whatnot, because they know that the rates are all dropping. So it is something that I can discuss with the treasurer so that we make sure things stay separated.
Because I mean,
they're all
if it's going to take
different
this long for this fire truck to get here, have that money, earn money while we're waiting. That's just an idea. You
totally
brought it
agree.
up, and I just thought,
I think any of us would want to do that with our own money.
Yeah,
if it has to be allocated out.
thank you. Okay, any other discussion? There are comments? Good. Okay. So, as I summarize then, it looks like it's being spread out over the next 4 years. I ran some, just looking at New Millennium, over that amount of time, we'll probably get back in of 375 to 400,000 over a 2-year period, so that may actually cover most all of it. If you look at 3 or 4 years, depending how long it takes to do it, so. Current balances we have in SDI is $1,060,000 and then $775 in New Millennium.
Just a quick question, under miscellaneous expenditures, that's money we just budgeted. We don't actually have anything committed under
That is allocated for these
this.
projects we've been
Okay.
talking about, because we just want to have it in there just in case.
Okay.
Correct, correct, yes. And we did not put anything into the American Heritage for this project. I don't know what the 356 is for.
That, in all of those miscellaneous numbers, that is just for when you
Estimated.
guys decide what
Okay.
you want to do with it.
Yeah, so no, those, to answer your question, those are not, to my knowledge, allocated towards anything at this point in time. The miscellaneous expenses are not.
The only thing,
except for the
the fire, the
the fire,
hazmat
yeah, the
facility,
hazmat
the
facility.
350 to the hazmat, the Auburn hazmat facility
Yes, and that,
is spread across all three.
there it is.
And that's not currently showing up as allocated money, so will that drop in here somewhere then by the next meeting? So we need to account for that in this decision, that there's 350,000 coming out of here.
And it's 100,000 per account. Is that correct?
106, 17.
Yeah,
We do 300 or we do 300?
100 and 350.
Oh, okay, there you go. For each account. Okay. That's clear as mud. Okay, any thoughts? Any comments?
My only comment, and I think Chris is the same place I am, is I could never, ever spend $355,000 at work with a one-line email. I just need a quote, which, I know how that works too. If you're like, hey, I went to, you know, I got the money coming, now I need to spec this thing out and get a quote, I get it. That's the only thing that
And you
still
did
is a
say
little
there's-
fuzzy to me.
There's a discount too, possibly, right?
There could be, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what they'll,
Yeah.
Well, I would like to see you try and do that, save the taxpayers as much as we can.
Let's face it, our next meeting's only a month away, right? Well, it's just like the interest that we maybe can or can't get. Money's money.
Every dollar counts.
Yep.
That's where I'm at as well. I think I'm of the opinion, for me, that I would want to do something with you guys. I'm, like Pete said, $330,000 on an email it's not normal in my world. I'd love to see something in writing on that. If these things can be tied together for the next meeting, it should be helpful for me to make a decision about that.
Well, I can tell you exactly what it is.
March 12th.
March 12th. Doug, do you have anything?
You guys have basically said asked all the questions for a event.
Leon, do you have anything?
No, I'm in favor.
Okay. So there really, it should be a motion because we're not appropriating funds, but,
I don't think we really can appropriate funds, don't know exactly what they are, right?
okay, so I would say, Ron, from where we stand right now, is that we love the project. We like the project. The numbers aren't really scaring us, kind of how it's all working out. Could you do everything in your power to get us a firm bid on the grass rig and then for the discount that you may or may not be able to get if you combine them both together? Okay.
And, you know, dangle the carrot out in front of them that it's just, looks like March 12th, we'll be voting on that, and it's promising.
There you go.
Twist their arms.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that good, Zach? Do I need anything else?
No, that's good. Depending on the vote at the next meeting, then we'll have to do a resolution and all that, but can't do that until we know the exact amount that we're doing.
Okay, great. Okay. Police department, so because you slipped in before we actually formalized our agreement,
Sorry about that.
we're gonna let you present.
All right. Can I bring a few things around?
You sure may.
All right. I know we were talking about 3 quotes for everything, so this is what I got. I kind of just broke it down on just one sheet of paper.
Thank you.
I do have all the quotes in this folder. So back to our biggest thing is gonna be the two vehicles that we are asking for. I got 3 quotes on them. The only one that is just completely outfitted by a dealer and everything is John Jones. And that one was the $60,870.50 per vehicle. The other 2, we would have to buy a vehicle from Shepherd's and then have to send it off to get it outfitted, which that could take 6 months, 8 months before we would get the vehicle. John Jones, they just got the vehicles in. We could have that within a couple of months, few months. And that's the big thing. And we've gotten 3 vehicles from John Jones. We know how everything is, and we haven't had any issues. We really like John Jones.
Did you say a few weeks? I mean, it could be quick.
Yeah,
Few months?
They just a few months
Okay.
is when we would get it. We have one on order already right now that the city's picking up, and we just need 2 more.
Okay.
That's for the vehicles. Do you guys have any questions about the vehicles or anything?
That's 60,000 is for one.
For
and
one.
You're looking for 2.
2, yes.
Sounds like John Jones is your preference.
Yeah.
Prices are pretty close.
The Mulkey one, that one's gonna be over the 60,000. He was unable to get with his dealer for the radar and wasn't able to get a quote for it. So it would have been over the 60,000. The Midwest, we've never seen their vehicles, how they outfit them or anything, and we've never worked with them before. So yes, John Jones is what we are familiar with, and we really like the way he outfits everything. Now, for the drones, I know we talked about last time about the DJI, and I believe you mentioned about the DJI ban that they were trying to do. If we were to get it, it would be grandfathered in. I tried looking through the NDAA compliant drones that are American made, and there's non-existent. We don't have a good drone manufacturing company in the States that can compare to DJI drones. I got a hold of Skydio and talked with one of their reps. They have Chinese batteries, and they're in a battle with them right now, and they could only send 1 battery when we would order it, and then we would maybe get another one later in the year, and who knows if we could get more than 2. And that one is $25,000. That's $15,000 more than the DJI. I then went to the Astro Max and built a drone that was comparable to the DJI, and that's $57,000.
You're looking for one drone.
One drone. Yep.
And that's night vision
Yep.
and all the
Yep.
cool stuff to chase down bad guys at night and during the
Yep.
day.
Or find lost kids or anything like that,
Yeah.
which is what we've come in use for the
Yeah.
most.
And I didn't do extensive research on this, but what I found was if DJI gets banned, I didn't find something that said it gets grandfathered in. It's that you can no longer use the FCC airwaves.
What I found is that they would stop selling. I didn't see anything that said that they would, because I talked to the county, I talked to multiple people about it, and they talked about it being grandfathered in, because you're just not gonna be able to buy it when they ban them. That's what I found.
The ban comes from the FCC.
Okay.
And again, I'm not an expert on this, but the concern I have is the ban that I saw said so it's on the list now, and they can either, if they do nothing in a year, it's banned,
Okay.
or they can accelerate it and ban it early. And the issue is if it gets banned in a year, or it gets banned early, you can't transmit. Again, not an expert on this. Basically, it was you would no longer be able to use it. There's something about the airwaves and everything transmitting through cell phones and all of that, or the cell phone signals that they use to transmit whatever signals they use,
Okay.
that you would no longer be allowed to use the bandwidth. Again, I'm not an expert, but everything I read said if it gets banned, you've
Yeah.
got a $10,000 paperweight.
Okay. I'll have to look into that a little bit more, because I'm not sure on how that works, because I know drones, they all use Chinese satellites, even the American ones do. So I don't know how they're gonna differentiate between DJI and American-made ones. Even the American-made ones, when I talk to Skydio, they are Chinese drones, they're just built in America. That makes them American-made. So, I would have to look into that some more on.
Yeah, and
on the
I
ban.
mean, obviously,
And I know that
10,000
got
is way better than.
Postponed, correct? the band did till 2026?
It's a great question.
Because that's the last thing I saw.
There's a Reddit thing that says it was postponed, but that's from like June. I don't know. Trying to read through it all is very confusing. And
I was getting so many mixed different things between it, and I couldn't get an exact straight answer. And I think that's what's gonna be how it is until something's done or not done. Those are, I believe, all the quotes of the individual things, the vehicles, the street sign, the AEDs. I didn't get 3 quotes on the AEDs because each individual price was $1,861, but we're looking at 9 of them. We have now 4, and we would like 1 in each of our vehicles, and then 1 left on station. And these are the same ones that the fire department has, so if, we usually get on scene first, we can hook up an AED, they can unplug it and hook it into their AED, the pads that are already on the person. So we're trying to get the same thing that they have. Right now, we're different.
Yeah, it's nice to have that familiarity.
Yeah.
AEDs are all super simple to use, but they're all a little different.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the street sign for?
That is what we just put on the side of the road, and it'll give the red and blue lights, show you your speed,
Oh,
slow down. Yeah.
the radar?
Yep.
Just one of those?
Yep.
Thanks for the summary. Makes it easy.
Yeah.
Right now.
I think for the total, the total is $155,766.95.
That assuming John Jones and
John Jones, DJI.
Yep, okay.
Street sign.
Which saved me the math,
I'm
thanks.
sorry, can you do that again, that number?
$155,766.95.
And then you're asking for 1 drone, correct?
Mhm.
And is that then going to be, is that dedicated to 1 officer?
It'll be dedicated to the chief and I,
Okay.
and then possibly more in the future. It'll be on station. We just got to get people certified to fly it.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I know you asked last time about what the city will have input in these.
Here you go.
So the vehicles, we're gonna need, these are not included, for the computers not included in them, and neither is the radio. Those are that'll be about $12,000 for the 2 vehicles that the city is going to have to pay for the vehicles. That is for, the vehicles. As for the drone, it'll be, the licensing, sending people to get certified, street sign. There's not much to it except for maintenance, batteries you're gonna have to change, AEDs, pads, and maintenance, about it.
So is the 12,000, 6,000 for each new car?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the computer is 2,600, and I believe the radio is 3,400.
Is that who you say you have 9 vehicles now?
We will have 8, and then one AED on station.
Okay, so you have currently how many vehicles?
Give me a second. 8. Currently have 8.
Okay, then with the addition of these, then that adds,
We are getting rid of 2 vehicles, for sure. We're trading in the 2017. When we get the one for the city, then we would be trading in the 12. So there could be, I don't know how much money could be coming off of that. It'll probably be $2,000 to $3,000. I think that's what we got for the 17, is we're getting $3,000 off. So there could be possibly $2,000 less, $2,000 to $3,000 when we go to actually make the deal for the vehicle.
So then with the addition of these, then that would put you at 9 vehicles?
Yes.
So you're gonna add,
Yes.
you're adding
Yes.
one.
We've come into issues where a vehicle is out, broken down. Hopefully, we won't have these issues with more newer vehicles, but where we've been down 2 vehicles and somebody didn't have a vehicle.
Right.
So we'd like to have 2 vehicles, one for reserves and one for pool car and stuff like that.
How many officers do you currently have?
7 full-time.
7 full-time.
Yep.
And so I'm assuming, looking at the numbers, then they're taking the vehicles home?
Yes. Yep.
Is that common practice for a small town?
Yes.
I can see it's like for the
Yeah.
sheriff's department, because they're all over the place.
Every department in DeKalb County takes their cars,
Okay.
including Waterloo.
All right, and then for funding in the future, just so I understand yours, like I asked Ron, is, how do you get your funding? Is there, you have an accumulative fund that you're building? How does that all work?
Mike? Same way, right? What?
You don't have any fund for the police department?
There wouldn't be a specific cumulative for the police department because that's not a separate tax. Like the tax is for the fire department. The city themselves, like the county, we have a cumulative fund. They could have a cumulative fund, but it's not specific to the police department.
Oh, the city does.
Like the
I
county, we
understand.
have our cumulative fund that we replace our sheriff cars with and other things, but it's not specifically labeled police department like the fire is.
Gotcha.
You have public safety lit?
So, but the city is buying a new car, correct?
Yep, we are
So
buying one.
there's-
We're
there's-
looking at getting 3 this year. That's
So
what
there,
we'd like.
your request here is 2 cars, but there's a third one that is coming from the city?
Yes.
And that's just part of the city budget
Yes.
as part of the police department?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we allocated 65,000 for a new vehicle for this year.
How is that built into the budget going forward? Is that like you got one in there every 2 years, every 1 year? What's the, and that might be a question for Mike, I'm not sure.
For the vehicles, so we got one in 2020, we didn't get one in 2021, 22, and we got one in 23. And then we got one in 24. I'm trying to just get newer vehicles in. Our big thing is we used to not have enough vehicles for everybody to take them home. Those are our mobile offices. This is where we work all the time. So we finally were able to get enough for everybody. And now we're coming to the point where, we have a 2012 that's got 120,000+ miles on it. We have a 2017 that has 115,000 miles on it. The truck has 110,000 miles, and they're just kind of nickel and diming us. We need to get rid of those vehicles and get newer ones.
You're kind of getting into the cadence of, you got 8 vehicles every year, year and a half, get a new one, so you got them
That's
rotating
exactly
out.
what I
but
want.
you're-
When the officer gets their vehicle, they got to understand that they got to keep it in good condition. In 8 years, they will get a new one. That's kind of what I would like to keep going.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that ownership, you
Exactly.
got it, it's your baby, you're not moving in and out of it every
Yep.
day, right?
Yep.
I got one thing to add and then a question. Along with him saying, some of his vehicles have 120,000 miles on them. You also, just like the fire apparatus, a lot of these vehicles sit and run idle for hours and hours versus just running road miles.
Yes.
So-
If you look on your idle hour and your engine hour, you can calculate, we do about 30 miles per hour, and we're at about 400 to 500,000 miles on our vehicles if you calculate it out that way because of the idle hours.
So, and then just a question, I may be missing it, and I'm trying to quickly go through the quote. Do any of these quotes include graphics?
No,
of
they do not.
vehicles? And then who would be paying for that?
We'll be paying for that, the city will. We go through graphics. The mayor actually put those on for our last ones, so I'm sure he gives us a halfway decent deal.
He's pretty good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think they're $500 a car is what we would be putting.
Any comments from the audience? They're looking at a request of $155,000 for all of that. So looking at, now back to the numbers now, so if we go back and look at the fire department, then that puts out 510 this year, 140 next year, and then 425 in the next 2 to 4 years. Let's kind of understand where everything's at.
All your equipment's pretty readily available. There's no long lead times on any of this stuff.
Yeah, it would just be the, John Jones getting the vehicles in, which I believe he just recently got them in.
Service. So for the RDC, one of the things we look at is how does this benefit the TIF district? How does this benefit economic development? Now, obviously, economic development, you guys aren't touching, but for the TIF districts, tell me.
We go out there quite a bit. Anytime that there's a serious incident out by SDI or anything, we're usually the first ones there. Same thing goes for the drone. Yes, it's in the county, but we always respond. And for a drone to get out there, it takes time because they got to go get it on station, drive it over there. And a lot of the times that we've had it, it's been on the east side of the county, the far east side, County Road 75 area. So that's, 20 minutes from their station after they pick it up. But for vehicles, we do go out there a lot for any accidents, anything major that happens, fires or anything like that. We are the first ones usually county units aren't near that area.
Is there, this may be a question for you, this may be a question for Zach, I'm not really sure. Is there any kind of, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. It's the Butler Wilmington Township Fire Department. It's just the Butler Fire or Police Department. Is it okay to use that money? I mean, I know that in reality, you guys are if there's a problem at SDI, you're the first ones there. I get it. Is there anything written, jurisdictional, otherwise that would preclude us from making a decision to give them TIF money for the Wilmington Township? Okay.
As long as they benefit the TIF area, then the funds can be used for that. That's the nexus is, even if they're located outside of the TIF area, if they provide service to it and it would benefit the TIF area, then it's within our purview to provide funding.
Okay, just something that I needed to clear in my head, that's all.
So the county is the ones who provide the primary service for that?
Yes.
You guys would be secondary? Okay. Get that as well. Okay.
This is to Ron, so how does that work? Are you guys first responders, Butler, for a fire at SDI, or how does that work? Okay.
Any other thoughts? You want to think about it? You good in a motion, or if you want to wait till the next meeting to make your decisions? I'm good either way since they kind of dropped it on us today, as far as the numbers go.
The DJI thing is really the only thing that I'm curious about, and it's $10,000. I mean, I'd hate to have a paperweight in a year, but I don't know if we'll know any different.
And that's, I kept looking, and there was a bill they were gonna pass that was gonna expedite things. They decided not to pass that, but then the Commerce Department said they were gonna consider banning them, but that was under Biden. So it's now up to Trump, and haven't heard anything about what his thoughts are on that, so I don't know. And then I've read, there's some things that say if they ban it, it stops working. There's other things that say they'll still continue to work. It's very confusing. Well,
My kid wandering around in the backyard at 10 o'clock at night, I would appreciate you having it, for sure.
yeah.
Chief Traster and I, we both have our own personal drones, and there's been multiple times where we've taken our personal drones out there because we just don't have one. And luckily, it was during the day, and we didn't need thermal.
Night vision on your,
No, we don't. Don't have the money to spend on that. So yeah, yeah.
You don't think and I can't, and I know, I understand it's confusing, and I can't promise you that I could have a solid answer by next meeting. Fort Wayne Fire Department arson investigation, they have their own drones that they get from the Fort Wayne. They're sort of hand-me-downs from the police department. So I can contact them to see if they have a clear idea of what's going on, because they're using them every day. So, but again, they may not have a clear answer either.
ask, might,
Well, I want to support the police department as much as I can. The only thing that's going in the back of my head now is that they are the secondary for our TIF district. And this isn't providing any type of an economic development for the TIF district. That's kind of where I'm at. Not to say I don't support, I'm just saying that's what's going in my head, and I'm just a little bit nervous if we can actually fully fund that or not. I think we can legally do it for police departments.
kind of one of those things that as I've read through this, adding the police and fire to the statute is a little bit, it can be a little bit soft
Yeah.
feeling, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I
Maybe
think-
less for fire than for, the fire can affect insurance rates and things of that nature, so.
Yeah, the fire one's easier for me, because I mean, they're the first primary support,
Yeah.
and the
Yep.
police is the secondary. So that's where I'm kind of hesitating. And then, if you do this, then that's just, okay, well, then all the other police departments in the county too, Can we make that argument as well?
One argument we might get, and Leon, you may have feelings about this, is the east side has feelings about the TIF money coming from their taxes.
That's true.
And I think there may be some debate back and forth that we may get.
As far as in favor of or against?
That in favor of supporting Butler, because the taxes have been, through the TIF district, a lot of that money's been pulled from Butler and Wilmington Township. Some of the feedback or phone calls I took last year was
Yeah, sure, no, I agree.
centered around, so I'm not opposed, or I'm thinking about it. My feelings are, I'd like to have till the next meeting based on what we're decision. That's me. That's just my feelings to think about all this and get some head around all the figures. I would be in favor of pulling the drone piece out of there until we have some clearer understanding about that.
Yep.
I'm like Pete, I think it's a great tool. If we have some other people that can look into, if we're gonna spend that money, that we're not gonna lose it in 12 months, or you can't use it.
And you're not an immediate crunch, right?
No.
So if we wait 30 days, we're okay.
Yeah, with John Jones, we're good with them. Because we've when we talked to them earlier, or late last year, we allocated 3 vehicles. We didn't have to get 3 vehicles. He just has 3 vehicles allocated for us if the.
Okay.
So, yep.
I personally would feel more comfortable too, is just thinking about it, just because I want to go through all the numbers and all the quotes and everything, just kind of see where everything's at. And
I don't ever write $155,000 check, or I sleep at least once. And a month probably would be fine.
Okay, all right, so let's table this for the next meeting. So we'll bring in the fire department and the police department back. We'll go ahead and put them on the agenda. So, and then I don't think you need to supply anything else other than if you could give me and we'll figure out with the drone.
Try.
Yeah, if we can figure anything out with the drones.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys'
Great.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, anything else from the audience regarding any of this? No? Okay, that is all I have on my agenda. Is there anything from the committee? Leon?
Back to the beginning of the meeting, On this paper, SDI TIF was 320,000.
Yes.
Okay, that, we had agreed on the 500,000, but in Shelley Schmaltz's last motion, that 100,000 came out of New Millennium and 100,000 came out of American Heritage to make the 500,000.
I don't think Shelley was at that meeting.
Yeah, she's the one that brought it up.
She was at the May meeting, correct, but not the September meeting? The
No,
September
she wasn't.
meeting's when we decided on the 320.
She wasn't at the September meeting, no.
So I think in the September meeting, then Chris had made the motion to
Yeah.
take a total of 500 out of the SDI and the New Millennium.
Yeah, but Shelley on her motion, since it was the fire departments and going to all the, involving the whole county with the hazmat thing,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's what was 350,000 from SDI, 100,000 from the other two.
Okay, so you're saying it was 100 from American Heritage.
I have September 11th, Doug made a motion to fund up to 350,000, Chris seconded it. And Shelley made a motion that the 350,000 is funded equally between 3 TIF districts, Doug seconded it.
Okay. Okay, she was at the September meeting.
That was in September.
That was a
That was
September
September
Yeah.
11th,
Okay.
yeah.
I wasn't at the September meeting.
You were at the September meeting. I knew somebody wasn't there.
And Shelley,
Okay, so it looks
I
like
get
it's equally
confused.
funded from the 3.
Yeah,
Does that answer your question?
well, it just, I don't know if it should show 320,000 from SDI.
No, that is that's the money
estimated
we're supposed to be
revenue.
getting in. That is not the money that's paying out.
That's not the money going out.
So the money paying out would come out of the miscellaneous expenditures of 645, 356,
Yeah,
and 385. That's where that money's allocated out of.
Okay,
So in the next meeting, we'll have it broken out on this sheet.
yeah, okay.
The
All right.
green, are you looking at the blue with the green writing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The green is what is estimated to come in as revenue
okay,
for this year.
okay. And do you know exactly when that expires? That July or June 31st?
SDI TIF,
The TIF,
for our purposes, it's dead.
Uh,
The main one is done for our purposes.
I
okay.
don't believe that there's a half year. I don't think that,
Now, they had Baker
There's a
Tilly
half year
talked about
anything.
that, and I think we just said 2025, it was done.
Okay, all right,
So there is still a little one, but we don't
Right.
know what that is. We'll figure out what that is for our
Right.
next meeting.
I looked it up on the
It's
map.
only
It's
a-
the county road and up to the one leaf of the clover leaf.
Oh, so
That's
it's
what it
nothing.
is. So
it's
not very
only
much.
like, it's under 400,000.
Okay. So
I know that.
it's nothing.
No,
as far
it's
as
nothing.
numbers goes. Okay. I have a motion to adjourn. I'll stay.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
still awake?
That was a long one.